Okay, let's do some examples. All right, so here's a dot plot. So these are questions that could be potentially in your exam, right? And basically what I really want you guys to do is be able to read the graph and just answer some basic questions. There's not a lot of really difficult math. Most of it is either arithmetic or it's percentages. So it says here, the dot plot shows the cholesterol level of 93 adults from 2010 whatever data. Okay, so we got 93 people, so that means the total number of dots here is 93. So we have 93 dots, basically. That's basically what it's saying, right? Okay, so here are all their cholesterol levels. So if you can tell, right, each individual tick mark represents the number of what the cholesterol level was. Notice that this number in the middle, right, will be the middle number between 50 and 100, right, which in this case will be 75. You can kind of figure that out if you keep going. But anyways, okay, so this question is saying a total cholesterol level of 240. So let me write that. Let me circle that because I know that that's going to be important. 240 milligrams per deciliter or more. Okay, so 240, including 240 or more, is considered unhealthy. So if you have a 240 or more, you're considered unhealthy when it comes to cholesterol level. So report the number of people in this group with unhealthy cholesterol levels. Okay, so well, what are we asking for? We're asking for the number of people who are unhealthy. Well, how do we know who's unhealthy and who's not? Well, they have to have a level of 240 or more, right? So 240 is going to be somewhere between these two numbers, right? 200 and 250. So what number is this? Well, this number is the middle number between 200 and 250, right? So if I were to take my calculator and add 200 and add it to 250 and then divide it by 2, right, what I'm going to get is 225, right? So these people are still all right? So everything after that will be considered unhealthy, right? Because 240 is going to be somewhere here, and 250 is already greater than 240, right? So everyone who's from here all the way over here, oh my goodness, this person, right? These people are considered to be unhealthy. So how do we know how many there are? Well, let's just count the dots, right? If I were to count them, I believe there was 21. So there we would say that there's 21 unhealthy. Okay, that's just it, right? No math, you just count the dots. All right. Make sure that you do read these keywords though. This is a very important thing. Okay, so the next question says, knowing that there are a total of 93 adults, so we already knew that there was 93 people in the sample. Okay, report the percentage of people who, the percentage of people with unhealthy total cholesterol levels. Okay, so we already figured out how many people are unhealthy, right? We said that 21 of them are unhealthy. Well, how do we figure out the percentage? Well, we're going to take 21 and divide it by 93, right? Which is basically what we did before. If I go ahead and put this in my calculator, I'm going to get 0.23. Percent? No. Make sure that you move the decimal point 2 times, right? And that is going to give me 23% approximately. That is my answer. Do not give me 0.23%. That's wrong. I'm going to mark the entire thing wrong. So please be sure to move the decimal point over because it wouldn't make sense for it to be 0.23%. Okay. All right. That's the question with the dot plot. So this one's good. Now let's go to the second problem. Okay, so the second problem says, the histogram shows the distribution of the number of televisions in the homes of 90 community college students. Okay, so let me read the graph. So this says number of TVs. So number of TVs, and this is frequency. So this is a number. So these are the people, right? The community college people. So if I were to look at this 2, for example, this 2 says number of TVs. So there's 2 TVs, right? How many people have 2 TVs? Well, if I go up to the height, it's around 14, right? So around 14 people have 2 TVs. How many people have 6 TVs? All right, so around 5 community college students have 6 TVs. That's how you would read this graph, right? Okay. So now this says, according to the histogram, about how many homes do not have a television. Okay, well, in this case, 0 TVs. So how many people have 0 TVs? Here is 0. Well, this is about 1 person, right? It seems like it, right? More or less. So about 1 person. 1 student, because it's community college students. So about 1 student has no television, okay? Part B. How many televisions are in the homes that have the most televisions? Okay, so let's read that. That's kind of weird. How many televisions are in the home that has the most televisions? Well, let's think about that a little bit. Okay, do we figure it out? Okay, so what exactly does this mean? So it's a kind of a play in words, right? And it seems like televisions. Which one? What am I looking for? Well, which one has a bigger bar, right? Because that's going to have the most televisions, right? And the one that has a bigger bar is this one, right? This one has a bigger bar, right? Because this one has much higher than everyone else, right? So how many televisions are in there? Well, there's 3, right? Because here's 2. This one must be a 3. Okay, so there's 3 televisions. Okay, 3 TVs. Perfect. All right. And then it says, how many homes have 3 televisions? Well, we were just looking at that one, right? Approximately how many? That looks around like 26, right? So about 26 homes. Right? Then it says, how many homes have 6 or more televisions? So we're including 6 because it's 6 or more. Okay, so we look at 6. Here's 6 or more. Well, or more is everything above 6, right? So it should also be this. So how many televisions are here? So this is about 5, right? How many are here? This is about 1. So 5 plus 1 gives me 6. So 6 homes. Okay. All right. So far, hopefully everyone is with me. Okay. And then it says, what proportion of homes have 6 or more televisions? Okay. So we're looking at the proportion. So we already know how many homes have 6 or more televisions, right? That's what we found in part D. We know that there's 6 homes. We're looking for proportion. Well, 6 homes out of how many? Do you guys remember how many there were? Well, let's go back to the problem. Did they give us how many? The histogram shows the distribution of the number of televisions in the homes of 90 community college students. So it should be 90. So 6 out of 90. Okay. 6 out of 90. So let's go ahead and put that into our calculator, right? And what we're going to get is approximately 0.06, right? Remember, we're looking for proportion, right? So let's go ahead and figure out. You can give me this if you want, right? Well, this is technically correct, right? We weren't really looking for percent. But if you want to give me a percent, this would be about 6%. Okay? All right. So far, so good, I hope. All right. All right, so this is the last problem. So the relative frequency histogram shows the number of hours of sleep reported as experienced last night for 24 men in college. Okay, so this tells you a relative frequency. So notice that as we look at the other histogram, if we go back, this histogram only gave me frequency, right? So it only gave me numbers, so the number of homes. Whereas here, they don't give me the number of males. It gives me the proportion of males, right? So basically all they just did is like they looked at how many males, I don't know, slept for 5.5 hours, or and then they divided it by 24, and that's how they got this percentage, right? That's basically all it was. So this says about how many men had 6 or fewer hours of sleep. Okay, so we have to look at 6 or fewer. So 6 is right here, right? So this is 6. I'm gonna go ahead and shade it. Okay, I'm tired of the red. Let me do this one, the cute one. Okay, oh, what did I do? Okay, 6, right? We have this. And then, or fewer. Or fewer means everything that's less than, right? So it should be this too. So 6 or fewer is all of this. Okay, so how many men had that? Well, let's go ahead and see first what the relative frequency is, because they don't tell us how many men there were. right, in that slept fewer than 6 hours. So here, if we looked at the relative frequency here is not quite 0.05, it's about 0.04. Okay, so let's just say that. Here it's about, I don't know, let's try to estimate it, like around 0.13, right? So these were the two different relative frequencies for both of them, right? So we want this or fewer, so let's go ahead and add them, right? Because we're going to add, okay, well, the total, right? So what is this going to give me? About 0.17. Now, what am I going to do with this? Because this is not the answer, right? We want to know how many men, right? Not, and this doesn't make sense that it's 0.17 men, right? Well, how do we go ahead and figure out? We know what the proportion of men that had 6 or fewer hours of sleep, but how many men do we do? Or how many men do we go ahead and sleep for 6 or fewer hours? So how do we get that? Well, remember that there was 24 men total, right? So if we have the total number and we have the proportion, multiplying this together should give us the total number of men that had 6 or fewer hours of sleep. So we're going to take this 0.17, multiply it by this 24. I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator, and what I'm going to get out is about equals 4.08. Quite doesn't make sense though, so it's going to be about 4 men. Okay, that's what we get. All right, so we got about 4 men. Okay, last problem before this video gets even longer, right? The graph is bimodal. What are the two modes? Okay, well, this is what we're going to be covering in the next couple of, well, actually next week, right? So modes, right? So modes are the ones that are the most frequent, right? So which hours of sleep were the most frequent? Well, those, we're just going to look at the graphs. Which one's the highest one? Well, in this case it's 7, and in this case it's 8. So we say that the two modes are 7 and 8 hours. Okay. All right.